This week we are going to make a Minecraft plush cube of Creeper. And I've given you most of the materials. There are a couple of things you will need. The most important is a needle with a big eye. So an embroidery needle is best, but just anything with a big eye will work. 2 pins, so we will need that for sewing. Scissors, a ruler, and glue for the face. In this case you can use a glue gun, or tacky glue will work also. So the first thing we're going to do is cut a piece of thread that is about 11 to 12 inches long, and then we are going to put a knot on one end and with the other end we're going to thread it through the needle. Alright, so to start out, we're going to take this piece of felt, turn it, and fold up like this. So we have a long piece right here, the other 2 sides match, and we're going to pin it. So it looks like this. Now, if you've watched the video on WikiHow about how to do this stitch, that's very helpful. That will make things a lot easier. It shows a nice, it shows nice close-up pictures of it with more of an explanation than I will be giving. But what we want to do is when we sew, we want to start on the folded side. It'll just make it easier for us in the long run. So with my needle and thread, I'm going to not start at the bottom. I'm going to start just inside and go through the top piece of the felt like that. And so then I have a little tail. I'm going to tuck my tail in just like that so we don't see it. Now I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to come up right where I was and pull up like that. Now the next part, we are going to start at the bottom, again where I had been, and I'm going to stick my needle through, but I'm going to go at an angle like this and come up like that, and I have a stitch. So then again, I'm going to have my needle right underneath, but go at an angle like that, and I can straighten my stitches, and I'm going to continue doing that until I get near the end. Okay, so now that I'm at the end, I want to go straight up, and this time I'm just going to go up through the bottom. And then open it up. I'm going to take the pin out. And you can see my stitches. I'm going to slide my needle under one of the stitches, making a loop and sticking this through again to make a knot. And then I can tuck this in. I have one side done. So now I'm ready to do the other side. So I've cut my thread about 11 to 12 inches. I put a knot on one end, I thread my needle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it. I just prefer working from the right to the left. It's however you choose to do it is fine, but you do want to start with the folded part. So I am going to go up through just the top layer of the felt, tuck in my tail, go up completely. Oops. And then I am going to angle it. Fix my stitch. And I'm going to continue going to the end. So I'm at the end. I am going to go up completely through both. Then just through the bottom. Open it up. Thread through the stitch, making a loop, which I am then going to slide through again to make a knot, and tuck my tail in. So now I have two sides done. Now we're going to do the opposite sides. So I'm just going to open it up like this, make the other ends meet, and pin. Now once I've pinned, I am going to cut another length of thread for 11 to 12 inches. I'm going to knot it and thread it through the needle, and then starting at the folded side, I'm going to do the same thing I've done with the other two sides. I'm going to stitch going across, and once I complete this side, then I will do the other side. Alright, so now you've done the four sides, and it's starting to look like a cube. The last thing we have to do, sewing wise, is sew the top. Now, with this top flap, if you need to trim it, if it's too long, you can just take your scissors and trim it so it fits more neatly when you start stitching. The first thing you should do though is add some of the polyfill. That will help give it shape and make it easier for you. So I'm going to put some in, and I gave you a lot. You don't have to use it all, but just stuff it a little to give it some shape to help you when you sew. And for this one, we're going to need a long piece of thread, and I said about 30 inches. That's going to be more than enough. I just don't want you to be too short, so you can play with it, see how much you need, and then we'll be ready to sew. We're going to start doing the same thing we always do. Start in one of the corners. I'm on the folded part. I'm only going to go up through the top part of the felt. So I have my tail, and I'm going to tuck it in. Now, if you want to use a pin to pin the two pieces of felt together, you can. Otherwise, you can just use your two fingers at this point. But you're going to do the same thing you did before. You're going to go straight up. And you're going to go at an angle. And keep going across until you get to the corner. So at my first corner, I'm going to do what I normally did when I came to the end. I'm going to go straight up. But this time, we're not going to knot off the thread. We are just going to continue going to the other side. So I'm just going to pull it up, and then continue going at an angle across. I have one more side to do. We'll be ending it, but before I do, I'm going to add a little more polyfill. As I said, you can add as much as you like. I gave you a lot, but if you wanted to have a lot of shape, you can add some more. And then we're going to stitch going across same way we have been until the end. So I'm at my end. I'm going to go straight up like I do when I'm always at an end. And then this time, instead of knotting inside like we do, we're going to knot outside. So I'm going to take my thread and needle, I'm going to slide it through one of the stitches, making a loop. I'm going to slide my needle through the loop to knot it, and then I will just cut the thread. I can play with my cube to make sure the polyfill is as I like it. Okay, then you're going to pick which side you like for your face. Experiment, look which one you like the best, and then we're going to glue on Creeper's face. Now you can use a glue gun, you can use tacky glue, both will work. For this one I will use a glue gun. So using my glue gun, I've glued on the eyes and the mouth, and now I have my Minecraft plush cube.